And welcome to the Sunday Inside Texas Live, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Got my guys Landon Hollenfield here and Coach Dub. How we doing, gentlemen? Y'all doing all right on this beautiful Sunday?
Doing great,
Coach,
man.
Coach is ready for some playoff football. I'll tell you that. Look at him. He's
Hey,
locked and
look,
loaded.
the Patriots are back in the playoffs. The portal's heating up for Texas. Hey, look, man, I'm in a good spot right now.
Yep. Great spot, man. I mean,
Who
the
am
two
I?
games yeah, exactly. No complaints. The two games we saw yesterday, man. If they can, parrot that at all, talk about a crazy weekend for the NFL. But for your mental well being, Coach, I hope you don't have to get put through the blender that was being a fan of one of those four teams that played yesterday, man, because that was just just crazy all around. But all right, guys, we're here to talk some Texas portal. Of course, it is right in the thick of things for the portal season. And then we'll take a look at Texas's two deep. It is looking a little bit different than it was just a couple of weeks ago, and it'll continue to change a little bit, as my guy Landon said before we came on live. But first, guys, hop on over to Inside Texas and join our community right now. Take advantage of the Transfer Portal Ultimate Fan Bundle as 50% off. And again, constant news being posted, constant articles being written, all types of things changing. So come be a part of our community over there and have some fun with us, guys. But let's get to it. Lando, Coach. Last time I was on the show, Texas hadn't picked up a Juice Crier. They hadn't picked up a Rasheem Biles. I want to get your thoughts, and whoever wants to go first, but I'd love thoughts from both of you on those two linebackers, if you got to watch any tape, and just what are your thoughts overall as far as what they'll mean to Texas in 2026?
All right. Speaking of Crier, I'll start with him, right? Because I feel like maybe that sets the floor of the room, right? I think he's a good quality backup depth piece on the team. He's a physical linebacker. He's one of those guys. He might not have the foot speed, but if he ever catches up to you and hits you, you're gonna feel it, right? Like you want to put him in goal line situations, short yardage situations. Let's let him come and plug the A gap and blow somebody up. But Rasheem Biles, man, that is a safety playing linebacker. Like that's the new age linebacker. Like I don't know if anybody else has watched this film. If you watch him drop back, I know what going into the combine drills next year when he goes to the NFL, he's gonna kill it. You know what? He got a backpedal, turn their hips, and follow the ball. Like he does that so well in pads on film, man, and get to the pass lane, picks the ball off. But he's just so silky smooth. He reminds me of I'm not calling him Derek Johnson, right? But because he's not a very big linebacker, maybe 220 pounds. The way he kind of slips blocks and doesn't let people get their hands on him, man. He's so quick. They line him up all over the place. What they did at Pitt, off the edge, he was dropping back, he's blitzing from depth. I don't know, man. Making tackles behind the line of scrimmage, like that is I don't know, man, like a first round linebacker to me. Like he does it all, right? Like
I was just about to say, Coach, like
anything with this guy. And then you put him at nickel if you want to. If Texas wants to go big and put him at a big nickel, like he can cover a receiver. Like he can do it all. Like I haven't seen a linebacker like this on campus. I don't know since when, honestly.
there's a strong chance, and I want to say this with the utmost respect to the linebacker that is leaving Texas for the NFL draft this year, that's going to be highly coveted and sought after. But there's a strong chance that, just for fans to contextualize this player here, it's a guy you ain't got to take off the field. You do a little bit of everything, and NFL teams are going to be salivating about that. And there's a very strong chance he's selected higher in the draft. His draft capital allocation is higher than that of Anthony Hill Jr. And if it's even sniffing that realm, we should be hand clapping a hat to Coach Sark and company for reeling that one in. So,
I mean, you talk about a guy, I think his last three games, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he had 16 tackles, 15 tackles, 11 tackles. Obviously talked about coverage, Coach. He looks good in coverage, can play some zone, does a good job in drops. Very multiple as far as where you can line him up on the field. I'm already kind of salivating just thinking about the blitz packages that you can create on a third down with a Rasheem, a Justice Terry, a Colin Simmons, a Lance. You can do a lot of different really fun things. And, of course, you don't have to send all those guys. A couple of those guys are capable of dropping back. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. And so, again, I think Nash said it right here, patience shall reward you. Wasn't long ago, man, when a lot of people were thinking like, hey, man, I might have to get up off my couch, log out of Twitter, and go play linebacker for Texas next year. But any thoughts on Juice Crier from you, Lando?
I think Coach kind of nailed it. More of a situational player, a guy that you want moving north and south, right? Kind of handling some of the A gap things. He can handle his own against pulling offensive linemen, but just setting the floor is a good term. But I'll take it just a mini step further, saying setting the floor, but also setting the tone of physicality. That's just a guy that kind of fits the mold of the Will Muschamp defense. And I wanted to also just add something too. We kind of we talked a little bit in circles there about about our guy Biles, but watch that dude bend. Like the bendability for a guy that's a safety body playing linebacker, but being able to get to the quarterback off the edge, like he bends like an edge. He runs like a safety, but he thumps like a backer. It's a fun time right now. So there's obvious momentum. Looking at some of Eric's notes regarding Cam Coleman, I don't want to get off subject, but it's a beautiful Sunday today.
I feel like we can talk for a brief second if needed about a Cam Coleman. I mean, it definitely sounds like a decision could come sooner rather than later. Seems to be a little bit of confidence on the Texas side, and we'll see how it all plays out. But yeah, it could be a really fun Sunday. Let's just hope for that. But yeah, I mean, any comments, thoughts on the way that Texas has handled this cycle? Because obviously a lot has changed within the last few days. You can feel the pulse of the fan base rise back up out of the ashes. And it's like, all right, maybe these guys, maybe there was a plan all along. You think it's something like that? Or are we just kind of backdooring into success because we're like, oh, we got turned down there. Let's just throw some money around.
I'll let you go first, Lando, because I got my own thoughts on this one.
Okay, yeah. So I actually have a strong opinion too, and I'll keep it brief so that you can get your 2 cents in as well. The panic was off the charts, right, for a brief moment there amongst the nation, right? And we've been kind of preaching, all right, look, Texas understands where they are. Sark knows where he is. He knows like the window. Let's be honest about Arch Manning, what we thought about him prior to last season, but then what he validated for us at the end of the regular season and into the bowl game, right? It's not just something that Texas fans are grasping onto, not just something that Texas brass, Texas coaching staff, Texas donors, Texas NIL, right? Everybody is well aware of what they have in front of them here. All right. And so what I want to make clear is that it feels like you see Kobe Black enters the portal. He's since withdrawn, right? Jelani McDonald is returning. Just the list goes on. Derek Williams enters the portal and he's since returned. All these types of things, right? Players are having to make really, really difficult decisions, right? Because it's a battle of, okay, Texas wants me, but Texas has to be smart about paying me without paying me too much. We can't have all these funds and allocations, money just sitting on the bench, right? So there's a selective process happening. But what I want to make clear is that Texas is not the only program that's losing guys to the portal. It is roster turnover abroad, coast to coast, right? This is the most chaotic season or portal season that we've seen thus far. We're talking approaching 5,000 total portal entries, which is correct me if I'm wrong, guys. That's about 50% of the country, of the college football landscape, right? Something like that. It's an astronomical number. But the punchline here that I want everybody to hear is that, and it's gonna continue to reveal itself too sooner rather than later, hopefully. But as of in recent days, Texas is not losing players that they want to keep. Period. Go ahead, Coach.
Oh man, ooh, that's tough. I'll say this about the whole portal thing. It's crazy, and you're spot on. Like every team is losing players left and right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I'm just looking at some of the top guys, like the Georgias, Ohio States. Like they're guys hitting the portal every day at those schools too, right? And you see a lot of former 4-star, 5-star guys that's hitting the portal, like after a year only being on campus, right? For some of the same reasons, it's time to renegotiate, your deal that you got as a freshman, right? Because we're trying to move more cap space to the portal guys, and it's business, right? So let's just be honest about it. It's happening everywhere. I will say I wrote an article about this. You're like, hey, I'm not ready to hit the panic button. It was like maybe day 4 of the portal. Everybody's freaking out. I was like, look, if it gets to day 8, 9, and nothing's happening on this continued trend, I'm gonna get a pitchfork and be in line with you. Like, hey, let's go. Let's march down. Sand Jack and go. Let's go riot. But I wasn't ready to hit the panic button yet, right? Because I understand how it works. Did Texas swing and miss on some targets they had on their board first? Yeah, I'm gonna be real and be honest about it. It is what it is. Everybody's gonna miss in recruiting. Like you go after a guy, he's gonna choose another school. It just happens. But as the portal continues to evolve, more kids come in, your board changes, and so you got to be able to pivot and go find other targets, which we did in Rasheem Biles, right? He became available, so it's like, hey, let's target him. He's really, really good. So who was your number one target? Now this guy's your number one target. So I'm not calling him a second option as like they wanted other guys first. It's like he wasn't available. When he became available, his ranking changed on the board. And so I think that it's worked out. Right? Fortunately for Texas, honestly, right? These kids didn't go anywhere else. And there's going to be more kids hit the portal at Texas and say, oh, wait, let me go get him too. Like, it's not over yet. But we have until the 16th. We got 5 more days. They can enter the portal. And as far as losing kids, man, it's going to happen. You're going to lose. Some fans are going to lose their favorites. Some, coaches are going to lose their favorites in the room, right? And so I think when you get into losing young kids for veterans who are only going to be here for 1 year, internally, I have an issue with that because then you're going to find yourself in the same situation next year. I got to go to the portal heavy. I'm just going to speak linebacker, for instance, losing a Bo Barnes, right? You bring in Biles, you bring in Cryer, but they're gone in 1 year. Tanton Smith could leave too. Then who do you have in the room? Just Tyler Atkinson. So then you can find yourself, I got to spend more money in the portal to go find another 3 linebackers next year, right? So I wish things can be worked out maybe different so that we can kind of keep the young talent plus have bridge gaps until they get older, but and they can play maybe year 2 or 3 or whatever the case. Unless you just really want to stick to the model of, hey, I guess I'm just going to go to the portal every single year to build my team. I think that's might end up happening in a lot of positions. Honestly, the way I guess the current roster looks at Texas. I'm only looking at Texas because I'm close to Texas versus other rosters, but it's going to be a situation where I got to go to the portal every year because I'm getting rid of my young talent. You know what I mean? So I wish there was a way to keep younger guys, and especially rooms that are very, very thin.
It is a frustrating way to think about keeping your team together and team building in general. And it's a borderline impossible task for college programs like in general, right? Athletic directors, coaching staffs, and things like that. Not only to evaluate where they currently are, but especially even more so to project where they're going to be, where they want to be with their program. But to Coach's point, I think like losing Bo Barnes, right? It's a stinger. It hurts. And, it's almost like the give and the take. There's push and pull with everything. But the gravity of Arch Manning right now makes some of those decisions they have to be, the tough decisions have to be made with respect to specifically 2026. And then they will evaluate where to move forward and how to do so after next year happens. And then there'll be a minor reset, right? Because then we'll be turning the page on another quarterback taking over the position for the future of the program. But they have to make the difficult decisions. The reason why I say, and thank you, Joshy, for correcting me and contextualizing kind of my point there, because I don't want anybody to take it out of context, obviously. But he says, Lando, let me alter what you said slightly. Texas isn't losing anyone that they view as vital to their success in 2026. And I think that's a key note to consider there, especially with respect to the tough decisions being made, understanding where they're at in 2026. If they have to sacrifice funding and finances, right? This whole 105 scholarship thing it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me and to most from people that I've had discussions with regarding that. Those funds it only stretches so far, right? So if you have this pool of money, you can't give every single person, right? You can't pay top dollar to 105 people.
Right.
You just can't do it. Nobody can do that. So tough decisions have to be made, but especially for Texas, man, they feel like they've got the ace of spades in their back pocket, and that's how they're approaching and conducting their business.
I like that. And if you're going to go to that model, maybe NFL model, right, where you don't bring in many high school recruits, and you're going maybe, I'm saving my money for like top 4 guys. Your evaluations better be off the charts because you can't afford to miss.
Right.
It can't be. Everybody can't do what Indiana does because everybody else doesn't have Kurt Cinetti and that entire staff. Right? You don't have the buy-in from the players either. That has to change from a foundation point. Like it has to be who you are to the core, right? That has to start in the offseason. If you go to that model, you better make sure you hit on most of your evaluations because you're going heavy in the portal for 1-year rentals, right? And so everybody made fun of Dion for doing it. You can get in that situation too, to where I'm gonna save my money, I'm gonna go straight portal, forget mostly high school kids, and you don't hit on them, and then you're 8-5 or you have a losing record, right? So you better make sure that part is on key because we've seen this past year, being candid, the offensive line, the evaluations, how they showed up this year, right? If you don't hit on those and you're having a less roster, you can't afford injuries in fall camp either because you got less numbers. You don't have many scout team players, right?
Yes.
Essentially. So maybe you got to adapt the NFL style model of practice. not really tackling, taking anybody to the ground, does your game suffer because of that?
Will Muschamp would have a real difficult time signing off on that one. I'll tell you that right now, Coach. You're right.
So it's gonna be a lot of moving parts. Like it has to go right with doing it, because it's not easy saying I'm gonna limit my roster and because I want to move money here and all of that. You better make sure, like I said, hit on your evaluations and then pray for no injuries, because you don't have a free agency market. You can go get somebody at the street. I guess you do, but not really.
Yeah, that window closes much quicker in college than it does in the NFL, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
You guys know how to ban a viewer from the chat. Is there any way we can get this guy, just here for a while? He knows what he's doing. Josh, you're my guy. I can't believe you typed that out on this live right now.
Don't do that, man.
Quinn, we appreciate the super chat. 46% of recruits under Sark have transferred. What I think Lando is saying is guys that Sark deems vital to team success, whether it be an Xavier Worthy, who was tampered with and people attempted to poach him for several cycles there. And you have plenty of other guys. Tech has made some low-key pretty big swings at Texas guys in the last couple of cycles. And that's not the only school. But what he's saying is guys that are going to help this team have the upside of winning a national title. Like, there's just no way you can let those guys go. So, I mean, there's a big difference in, and I'm not calling it, oh, Lando, do we have some? So we have some.
We have something.
Yeah. We actually got news. Thank you, Joshy, for reverse effect. Yeah.
Speak it into existence with reverse psychology, Joshy. Yes, sir. And then I think Tex Blonde was the first to officially announce. And then I went to go and confirm with Joe Cook. I'm sure Eric will add some additional details here momentarily, but Cam Coleman is officially a Texas Longhorn. Happy to announce that.
Bang! That's huge. That is huge. You got your bona fide, certified, clear #1 wide receiver. Arch Manning as a go-to guy. Texas puts a shoe on Texas Tech, Alabama, Texas A&M, Cam Coleman, a Texas Longhorn. Love to be on the show with you, gentlemen, while that news broke. Bang. That is huge.
What a beautiful Sunday, man. Am I right? Speak that into existence. Come on, y'all.
I said he was going to do this on your show. We're going to be able to talk about it. That's so crazy. I said, he's going to commit while we're on the show.
Man, if I had more room, I'd hit a gritty or something right now. Let's go, baby. That is massive. Huge for Texas, huge for Arch Manning, huge for the upside of this offense. Raleek Brown is smiling. Maybe Hollywood Smothers is smiling too. Do we have any? We have any tidbits there?
You know who might be before we get to the Smothers? I'm sorry to keep taking
no, we got to roll with this. Let's go.
This is crazy. Okay, so I'll be wagering over unders on who's smiling bigger than Ian Boyd right now with the way that he has been. He's been so loud and so vocal for so long about the importance. Like, he would argue that a true #1, like an alpha X receiver, somebody that can space the field this way, where you have to have shell coverage or just allocate eyes, more than one set, to one particular guy who can win. What that does to a defense, the stress that puts on a defense, it's just important to consider, man, when you have a guy that you can just say, okay, because it simplifies the read, right? In a one-on-one situation, if he can beat press coverage, then it's the quarterback isn't having to process traffic over the middle of the field in a world where, rolled coverages and simulated pressures and things like that are just at the peak. It's higher than it's ever been. The way that teams disguise coverages now and just make quarterbacks think post snap, they're changing the picture on them. Just having that bona fide alpha X, man, it's a cheat code in so many different ways, more ways than I have time to sit here and explain. But point being, man, Ian Boyd has got to be jumping for joy right now. I can't wait to hear him talk about it. I'm sure he's probably going crazy on Twitter too, but he understands. Hopefully Texas fans understand. Everybody obviously understands the talent that this kid has, but what he does for your offense now.
Yeah.
And let's be honest. All right, I know Parker Livingston is it's a sore subject, right? But if you come to Texas, and this is just kind of full circle back to my point I was making earlier, and your production doesn't match what you're asking for, you will be shown the door because of situations like this, where you end up with a Cam Coleman, a clear upgrade to your wide receiver room as a whole, but to your true #1 wide receiver out, like your X, your standard prototypical X position, a guy that can. This is a multiplying effect right now. This is This is a big deal.
As I post my evaluation on what Texas is getting, I'm actually posting it to the board now, so y'all make sure y'all go read that as well.
Hey,
a lot of things you say, man. He changes the way defenses play you for the most part.
They can't play this.
Those who don't have a secondary where they feel like they can man up. I mean, let me say that, because there's gonna be teams that's like, okay, you got Cam Coleman, and I got a DB that I'm high on, and like I'm gonna keep it real because it's football players. People, from the fans looking at it, Cam Coleman does a lot. We know what he does for our offense, but people we play in the SEC just keeping it. And maybe I'm talking from a competitive standpoint. I'm super excited to have him because I know what he can do for our offense. And now having Arch Manning, you thinking of progression of Wingo, Mosley comes back healthy. You got a running game. Like, you got so much you can do with Cam Coleman, just because he's a threat every single time. But I'm ready to see. I'm almost in this, and I hate to be this way. I want to be in this wait and see mode. I got to see it on the field too. It's great offseason. I feel like we're offseason paper champions every year. We've seen multiple receivers be here. We saw Edie Mitchell and Worthy, two NFL dudes, studs. We've seen it before, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the David Sanders at tight end. Like, we have dudes. I got to see it translate to the field.
Plenty of work to be done.
Plenty of work to be done. That's what I want to see, because that's what matters. Because I'm looking, and I know this is maybe a one-off. I'm looking at Indiana. They don't have a Cam Coleman. They don't have a Ryan Wingo. They find a way to get it done, right? You know what I'm saying? Miami doesn't either. So I want to see us take advantage of the situation of having a Cam Coleman. We got him. Got to celebrate. It's like Christmas morning. But I want to make sure we got batteries to go with the toy too. I ain't got to wait till the next day to play with my toy. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at. I'm excited. Absolutely. Though.
Yeah, you know, Auburn's wasted a Cam Coleman for a couple of years. Not wasted a Cam Coleman, but they didn't reap the full benefits of having a Cam Coleman in the arsenal. Sorry, Lando, what were you going to say, brother?
I was just going to say, teams, I mean, it changes the box count, really. You know, teams can't play single high and just try to man you up everywhere across the board. Even if you're in 12 personnel, it's difficult to do that now. You've got to have somebody over the top shadowing. They're going to have to bracket Cam Coleman's side pretty much across the board. Otherwise, they're going to get beat, because there's no tell, right? What the defensive back is going to give up his leverage one way or another. And Arch just takes whatever that defensive back is giving him. If you're not gonna double Cam Coleman, thereby making, I see the questions about offensive line, and we can transition and pivot to that because it is a concern of mine too. But if you're not doubling Cam Coleman, then okay, we got a box advantage. We'll pound the rock and we'll play ball control until you're ready to, we'll run you out of those looks, and then we'll throw it to him over the top, and then we'll beat you that way too. You have answers now to everything. There's really no way that teams can take away everything that you are willing and able to do, assuming that you get the bodies in the middle to solidify the interior. But let's talk about that for a second, Coach, if you want.
Look, and as I wear my Patriots jersey, there was nobody who stopped our Wes Welker, Randy Moss, Jabari Gaffney, Dante Stallworth until we played the Giants, and then Brady couldn't get the ball off. We had all the weapons. So I'm only speaking from, we've had a ton of weapons in the pros, and then you face a team that can erase all that. So I'm not going to say that, but it makes it harder to stop us. How about that? It makes it hard to stop us, because
Coach having nightmares about that Giants front seven a little bit.
I am, man. Yeah, I am.
I get it.
The next topic is offensive line.
I get it.
He made a lot of people miss this year on his own. We got to protect throw the ball to the Cam Coleman's down deep, because you got Wingo probably can take the screen game. You have Mosley intermediate game, win around. Then you got Cam Coleman over the top, right? Maybe taking a safety with him every time. But the big boys up front got to hold up. They got to be there. Otherwise, he can't get down the field. You know what I mean? So there's ways. I think we will see. I think teams are going to go back to the 3 high defense on us.
Of course, yeah, you see a lot of that.
That's what we're going to see. There's ways. Like, don't get it twisted. We've seen it. I'm not going to lie. We've seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen
and
it.
You know what you do. You know what you do if that's their motto. You hit them in the mouth. You hit them in the mouth with some north and south, and then
you got to be able to do it.
You got to be able to do that. That's why
you got to be able to have some guys that can do it.
Yeah,
I love that, man. I haven't heard the hit them in the mouth with the north and south and maybe ever. And I thought I've heard every saying out there for any football terminology. But hey, real quick, guys, we're going to talk for another few minutes. I'm making an executive decision. We're going to pass on the 2 deep because we just had a massive news front drop. I mean, again, if you're just catching up, Cam Coleman has indeed committed. Thank you, Lando. Thank you, Coach, for being all over that. And again, Inside Texas has been all over it this portal cycle. And again, and especially in regards to Cam Coleman's recruitment. But real quick, guys, let's hear a very quick word from our sponsor, Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Fast one.
Same-day delivery powered by DoorDash.
I do like that we have an Auburn fan in the comments who's basically saying, yeah, like, you don't want Cam, like, we're glad we don't have Cam. Cam was in a pretty rough situation over there in Auburn. Let's not pretend like they were scheming up people quite often. Quarterback play was pretty subpar. O-line play wasn't great. So I do appreciate you being in the chat and for watching War Eagle, and I'd love for you to stay. Just drop a like on the video for us if you don't mind. A lot of people that need to send Sarkis flowers for hating his portal strategy. Is Coleman the next Roy Williams? Do you have any comparisons from what Cam Coleman looks like to maybe a previous Texas receiver, or just any receiver out there that people have had eyes on?
Oh man, comparison, that's tough. I'll probably go. He reminds me like a AJ Green. He used to play for Georgia. Got that kind of build, nice. Wins 50-50 balls, good route running, deep route running, right? Not so much of a comeback curl or intermediate route running guy. He's kind of got his kind of stretching the field, win 50-50 balls, understands leverage. I don't know. I would say AJ Green comes to mind with me. Just a similar build.
The frame.
Range. Yeah, it just reminds me of AJ Green.
He's got some verticality and high point ability to him that it's just recency bias. I don't want to compare him to George Pickens, who I think is one of the most talented wide receiver skill sets in the entire National Football League, but another Georgia prospect who that you can separate within your stem and your route tree, coach. You know this as well as anybody. You can separate, with having cheats from your offensive coordinator, putting you in motion behind the line of, just giving you leverages before the ball is snapped. There's separation that way. You can cheat with or create separation with mesh, right? Some rub concepts where you're kind of getting your own offensive personnel setting you free. But then there's also guys like Cam Coleman who have the rare ability to separate within his own route stem, but also this way, defying gravity vertically, right? Going up and getting the football. That's separation too. If you're long enough and athletic enough to be the high man, then Arch Manning has once again built-in answers. There's insurance to however the DB elects to play him. There's an out, and he has the athleticism and the separation ability to make sure that it's one of those things, right? Even leaving, okay. He's always open because there's just nothing you can do to take away that type of athlete. So this is going to be a lot of fun, guys.
Oh man, somebody's gonna clip you as soon as somebody stalls off and like, hey, you told us. No.
Well. So I didn't want to piss in anybody's Cheerios. Forgive the language.
No, I'm teasing. You know how these folks
I understand.
They're ready for you, man.
We got to have conversations, right? I mean, it's fair for somebody and somebody did ask me this recently, so I'm just going to say it. I don't care. Is there trepidation from the interior offensive line position or the offensive line position in general with the recent track record of Kyle Flood? And if you guys want to add anything off of that, I'll pass the torch to you, but that's a fair question to me. Am I wrong? If somebody's asking that question right now, given the state, and I understand we got Sikorsky from Oregon State, there's other guys that are kind of in the mix potentially, but right now, Cam Coleman is certainly going to have an impact. There's going to be a domino and a ripple effect, but let's be honest. If a portal player has questions or trepidation, does anybody here blame them in the offensive line room?
Nope. I would not be surprised if, there are several factors that we've seen under Kyle Flood's offensive lines that still hold true for last year. And popping in, Mr. Eric Nolan. How are we doing, Eric?
What's up? What are we doing? Live here? What's going on?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's good day. Look at Coach wearing his Patriots. He's ready.
Yeah, man. Texas on my brain, but Patriots on the heart.
Yeah.
He broke out the Tom Brady.
I'm here at brunch. Got a pretty good run of Texas going on. It's pretty fun, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, decent little Sunday going on.
Yeah.
Hey, what I just tweeted out. I love it when we're covering an elite athlete that there's a huge market for and demand, and it's just easy, stress-free. That was an easy one to cover. I never got super nervous. You almost always get nervous covering one like that, but they went to formula. Texas was the favorite. Once he went in the portal, Texas was the favorite. Did the job on the visit. I think Cam was literally ready to shut it down there, but that's not the way the agent was going to let it go. You got to go out and explore your options, create a little leverage, maximize the deal. But it was pretty much Texas from the moment they went in. And credit to the coaches. And now, we're going to be breaking this one down for a while because there's just so many different ramifications on what it means for Texas being all in the portal, what it's going to mean on the field, opening vertical space. You already got the horizontal space with Wingo. There's just a lot to discuss, but I'm happy for the fans. I'm happy for some of the fans. I really wish some of the other fans. I wish there's an alternate universe where I could have had them go to A&M because a lot of the fans that were worrying the whole time, I'm not sure they deserve this one.
That's a fair point, man. Obviously we've talked about a lot of panic. Talked about wanting, to go ahead and have, the day the portal opened, we wanted it all to fall together the way exactly we saw fit. But it sounds from the way you're saying, Eric, that obviously Coleman and Texas's visit went very, very well. A little bit of a tidbit about, maybe him wanting to shut it down a little bit earlier. If fans had any knowledge of that, think about the different mindset they'd have had towards us and everyone else.
You just never quite know. But, if you look at how this all set up, goodness gracious, it could have been as simple as who has a quarterback. Brendan Sorsby, I don't care what they pay for Brendan Sorsby. That's not indicative of how good Brendan Sorsby is. He's fine. He'll be good in the Big 12, but I don't think first of all, I don't even think Cam had much interest in playing in the Big 12. But then you look, Marcel Reed, good college quarterback, but we've seen his limitations, especially in the last two games. Alabama's breaking in a new signal caller. Whoever it is going to be talented, but man, they need to learn on their own time and not on Cam's when he's trying to go top 10 in the draft. So Texas had pretty much the best sell. Part of it obviously was they had to be competitive when it came to pay. They couldn't try to just live off having Arch and Sark and all that. Once I got an understanding of how everything was coming together, the holistic pitch of, draft slot was probably going to be aided by going to Texas, got a quarterback, got an offense, competitive pay, marketability. It just made too much sense. And they're running a smooth operation. I love it when I get early indications of them running a good process, a good, honest, true process. You kind of know what cards are going to be dealt. I hate it when they have really unpredictable people in the circle. Anything can happen at that point. There's been a lot of recruitments like that. This one was pretty straightforward and really, honestly, it was easy to cover.
Eric, stay on that note real quick because you just mentioned something that I think is critically important. And we understand that his agent, Cam Coleman's agent, David Mulugeta of Athletes First, is one of the more revered and respected agents in the entire National Football League, right? Cowboys fans are well aware of how that whole situation played out with guys like Micah Parsons. But to Eric's point on the value, all right, just for contextualization here, right? Let's talk about the first overall pick. The total value in 2026 is about $55 million, okay? That is a discrepancy incredibly significant when you consider the 32nd overall pick is about $17 million.
Yeah.
So there's, 30 plus million in different, like just first round, there's levels to first round selections. Okay. And if you think Cam Coleman wasn't watching Arch Manning or paying attention to not just the end of the season, but the bowl game against Michigan, you missed it. So
another point to consider there is next year's draft class is freaking amazing. Yep. It's going to be hard to get in that top 10 because it is loaded. And so, if there's a huge difference between going what's realistic for him, maybe, 5 through 10 and going later, the drop off, it's precipitous. It starts going pretty quick. So not that he'll ever be hurting for money. The guy doesn't even have to play with two hands half the time. He's got all the talent in the world, but Nash over here giving it a little TMI. I'm all bricked up right now. Okay, thanks, appreciate that. I'm glad all the parts are working, Nash.
Yeah,
Nash has had a couple of comments like that. He must be having a hell of a Sunday.
He's camping. He's camping right now, Eric. He's pitching a 10. He said.
I know Cam Coleman's known for going up a high point in football, but man, you would have had to live on that if he went somewhere else, but the ball would have been thrown high every single time. So hey,
that's what I said. It could have worked with Marcel Reed. He just has to double his vertical. This is yesterday I said they're probably going to end up with the number 1 portal class. Obviously, Cam had a big part of it, but that's only part of it. There's a lot more to come. Obviously, getting the linebacker yesterday was a really good indicator. This thing is going to the moon, man. Like we've been talking about, there's a reason I've been having a confidence. It was hard to write about it because nobody wanted to hear it. No, they don't want to hear it all in, jubilation, any of that stuff. But stick to your guns because they are running a very good process on the ground at Texas. Some of the misses were because they were taking very hard swings. Once you saw how hard they were trying, they're like, okay, if they just go down a level, it's gonna bear more fruit. Now a lot of these recruitments are a lot more even. It's not guys that are hard to pull from home. The Michigan guys, Florida kid. These guys are actually available. They're going to leave their school, and now it's really tough to beat Texas, pretty much regardless of what position we're talking about. Now you got massive needs at linebacker still. Running back's going to get taken care of maybe today. Got linebacker, offensive line is obviously the big one. That one's going to be. I was texting my friend right a minute ago. He's celebrating about this one. I said he's going to shit his pants when he sees that. Offensive line is going to be good, man. Offensive line is going to be good.
I had to say real quick, we did ban him from the chat temporarily, but we got Joshy Manning back. He did sit here and say Cam Coleman just announced and is going to Bama. And then about 45 seconds later, Lando's raising his hands in jubilation because it actually dropped in Texas's favor. So I guess we got to give you credit for some voodoo that you did there, Joshy, because, I mean, you certainly seemed like
he was just
trying to rile us up. He was just riling us up, but it was literally about a half a minute before Lando and Charlie really kind of got on the news there. But yeah, Eric.
Josh has been doing the Lord's work on IT, trying to keep everybody still and calm, and then he goes in and drops that at the last minute. Oh, man.
Josh and I have a lot of conversations on a daily basis, and he is normally pretty dang good about staying grounded. I will say that. And this last week, he a little bit better. But no, I love you, Josh. Appreciate the super chat, man. Eric, what do you think Cam Coleman looks like in this Texas offense as it currently stands, paired with Ryan Wingo and Emmett Mosley? How do you think that works out schematically? Do you see Coleman playing more slot? Do you see him being a true X? Like, what does that look like for the fans who may not know?
Sark's always going to hunt the matchup, and you will see him move around a little bit more. But yeah, he's tailor-made. He's the Vitruvian man for playing in the boundary. Doesn't necessarily get open, with like vertical speed. He can set.
I think we might have lost Eric for just a moment. Hopefully he comes back.
Brunch is brunching. It's all right. It happens.
Hey, man. Cam, you pull Cam Coleman and, got everybody out there celebrating Montgomery, Texas. Coach, what do you think? How might Cam Coleman look and fit in the Texas offense?
It's going to be interesting how they use him, right? I mean, because he's going to be the X guy, the main guy, right? You can move him left or right. Like, it's going to be see how teams dictate coverage to him. Is he going to have a safety over top? Do they feel like they can run man on man with everybody else and maybe double him, right? Like, it's the bit. Oh, man, I hate to use another Patriots thing, but it's the Bill Belichick model. I'll take my third or second corner and I'll double him and then play man on man with everybody else and try to take my chances. Because until those other guys prove they can win one-on-one, which they haven't yet consistently, I'm just going to double Cam Coleman and put everybody else and man up everywhere else. We've seen it all year. Everybody just manned us up, right? Because nobody was fearful of the other guys. Do we have a tight end that we're fearful of this year? That's another thing. Like I said, I want to see how we use him. Do we bring him in motion, stack him in formation? Does he get the screen passes underneath? Like, I think he has that ability to do so. So I don't know, man. I would love to see us, and Sark probably want to do this, is go 10 personnel. Like, I want to spread people out, 10, 11 personnel. Maybe go empty sometimes. Like, I don't want to run 12 personnel with a guy like Cam Coleman. I don't, because it brings everybody into the box. Now I can just double team both targets. And then what do you do? Right? So I know we're going to get it because that's just who Sarkisian is. But, man, I want to spread teams out and make them defend us in grass. Basketball on grass, because I think that's the best way to take advantage and use your weapons. But if you bring everybody down and condense it, it's going to make it hard. It makes it much harder, right? Because you can do a whole bunch of things on defense. So spread everybody out and then let Cam Coleman go to work in space one-on-one. He's going to be a decoy a lot of times, but, I mean, his decoy numbers are still going to be better than what it was at Auburn any year. You know what I mean?
I'm just picturing Ryan Wingo motioning pre-snap in the opposite direction, like away from wherever Cam Coleman is lined up, and just trying to imagine what it must feel like for a anybody in coverage with coverage responsibility on that particular play. Like just what's going through their head right there. That's a lot to think about.
It is. It is. And that's definitely going to be, Coach, I was thinking like you, man. I'm a big 11 personnel advocate. I always will be. But a little 10 personnel, a little empty. I kind of, calling for that last year just to get the ball out of Archer's hands a little bit quicker, implement a few more quick game concepts there. But I mean, this is huge, man. This is the favorite show I've done in my 5 months with Inside Texas, baby. We're bringing in Cam Coleman with my friends right here. Got a fun crowd to do it with, but we have ran almost double time. But that's what's going to happen when you have a big time commitment like a Cam Coleman. Anything else, gentlemen, that you would like to bring up, touch on, cover before we let you get out of here and enjoy some playoff football?
For me, all right, now let's go on the hump of offensive lineman. We got everything else solidified. Let's go get some big boys up front to protect Arch. And then, I don't know, let's get the offseason, man. We can fast forward to July, right? Like, let's go now. What's the point? I don't want to wait through the offseason, man. Let's go now. Let's go find some big hog mollies and go to work.
Yep.
I like it, man. How about you, Lando? Anything from you? We seem like we have a little confidence from our leader, Eric Nalina, regarding that offensive line. But what about you, Lando?
Yeah, that's a good place to leave it. I posed my trepidation question a minute ago, so I don't want to end a day like today with this news happening. I'm not going to end by doubling down on that thought. You guys heard me put it out there. Just be thinking about that. Eric offered some assurance, which is good. It's it's another nice pill to swallow. All right, but my thoughts are, man, just stay patient with this process. There's still plenty of time, right? We still have until Friday for which is the deadline for people to enter the portal. And there's still going to be more madness that ensues beyond that. So let the cake bake a little bit. Texas, Cam Coleman, and everybody else understands what is at stake here in 2026, and nobody's wasting that. So stay tuned and stay strapped in.
Piggyback on what you said right there, definitely have similar minds with that trepidation thought, but also you'd have to think that they're really going to dial in on that interior right now, because you start to look at the grand scheme of things and it's like, what could hold this team back? We just saw it be held back in that regard last season, but man, there's a very high ceiling for this team if you put together just a couple more pieces on that offensive line. But yeah, good luck to all you DCs out there, because it's going to be a scheming nightmare when you talk about exactly what Nino said. Coleman, Wingo, Lockett, Mosley, Brown, you add a Hollywood Smothers. There is so much speed. And again, we'll see how Sarge decides to use it all. But all right, guys, Coach, Lando, thanks again for being here. Thank you guys in the comments. Thank you for the super chats. Joshy, we were saving yours for last. We weren't ignoring you, brother. But again, man, really means a lot. Y'all throw a like on this show and then go celebrate the Cam Coleman news while you enjoy your Sundays. Thank y'all for watching IT.